Good morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser on a Friday where we are reckless, not as reckless as Nunez attacking, but still reckless. And with us, it's Kazi. What's going on?
Yeah, it kicked in this morning, the old Derby belly. It is a
This
thing.
morning, really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the good thing for us, I guess, over here is, normally it kicks in the day of.
Mm,
But over here in the US, it's first thing in the goddamn morning. So usually, you're ready to go right away. Unless like Champions League games and stuff are like, afternoon. So
yeah.
you have the morning, like, it just doesn't feel right. But
Yeah.
this one, especially for you, unless you're going to stay up all night and not going to be able to sleep, it's going to be first thing in the morning.
Yeah, this is it kicked in this morning. I think it would have kicked in late afternoon if we beat Newcastle. But I think now it's like it's coming a bit early. The old Derby belly. It is a thing. It is a well-known thing that it's kicked in Liverpool the day before the game or the day of the game. So the nerves are kicking in, fella. You know what I think about this game, mate. This is the biggest game of the season to me. So
Yeah, I know. Like for you, I mean, regardless of the situation, it would be a big game, and it's like a big game, big game. There's a lot of things that make it a big game. I mean, we put this up yesterday. Let me share it. If you're following our social media, you probably have already seen this anyway. But I mean, that's pretty crazy, and I think it's probably crazier to look at this for a fan who's newer to the club, Ozzy, because you're like, what? Wait, there's no fucking way, kind of a thing. It's odd because actually these are your good years in the derby. Like you should be enjoying this last decade or two.
no, it's no. And for more context around that stat, though, Liverpool have won twice there in 10 years. I've only lost
Crazy.
once there in 10 years. So we've only lost once there in 10 years, which was last year. So because we drew the other 7, we have a lot of draws at Goodison Park. It's such a hard place for us to go. It's fucking hell when you look at that, man. Like to have the last ever bragging rights over Everton, that we won more matches against them than they did against us at their own ground when it's been their home for 115, 20 years. Yeah, that's a nice bit of bragging rights to have. But
Yeah, I mean that would make it kind of like a special good finish. Like Mateo says, winner takes all tomorrow. Yeah. Cersei, Alan, good morning, gentlemen.
If I get a Curtis Jones winner, fella, that could be enough for me to send me over the edge. Or an Andy Robertson winner. Oh my, the 8th Andy Robertson so much.
Or a Gomez winner. How about that?
Oh my God, dang, don't.
Your mind just blew.
Liverpool need the points anyway. Like we already know this. Liverpool need the points. Let's just take the fact of it's a derby out the way. We'll get into the headlines in a second, guys. But we already know that this is all that people want to talk about anyway, which is understandable. Liverpool are playing a team that's 15th in the league and have won 3 all season. Liverpool, we should treating them with the contempt that they deserve. Of like, you shouldn't even be on the same pitch as us. Liverpool, that's how Liverpool's attitude should be. We're better than you in every department, and we should just go out. Liverpool have to go out and play the football match here, I think, Tim, and just play them as a team that's 15th in the league, who've won 3 all season, and have a really bad home record since January. Basically, I think they've won like 6 at home since January. It's horrific. Everton need to play the occasion. Everton need to play it as the occasion of the last ever Goodison Park derby, and we cannot lose. And I think that's how Everton get home in this game. But I do think Liverpool need to play the game. Look, I would love Liverpool not to have a shot in the first 20 and have 75% of the ball. And really,
I was going to ask you that because do you think having like instead of Klopp, where it was a bit, based a bit more on like energy and like the rah coming from the manager, we're probably oversimplifying it, but it was a big part of the game and it was a big part of the motivation and stuff like that. How do you think the slot approach? Because in some ways it goes to what you're saying, right? Keep your mind in the game, focus on the game and not the occasion. But at the same time, sometimes when you go out like that, you cannot match the energy of the other team because they're running on a different fuel than you're running.
Yes, and that's the chance that you take. But I will say for Klopp, and I will always give him his credit here, for most of his time at Liverpool, he did treat them with contempt. And the way he did that was, I think, and I need to go back and look into this, I think it's only once or twice that he starts the front 3, which is insane, against Everton. He just treated them with the contempt, like I'm doing a Regan, Shaqiri, and just beat it anyway. And he did. And he did. So he just treats him with the contempt of, I need to rest players, you guys are shit, and whatever happens here, and he would do that. I'm pretty sure he only starts them once or twice, Tim, when he started Mane, Salah and Firmino, which is absolutely insane when you actually think about how often they play to each other. But going back to the Slot approach, I think Slot, he mentions in his press conference intensity. We need to be high intensity. And he's right, but there's also controlled intensity, if you know what I mean. So you pick your moments when to attack. You don't just have a basketball game. You pick your moments when to attack. Do you know what I mean? You keep the ball and then you hit them quick and you hit them fast and you hit them with precision, which is very difficult for Darwin Núñez, but we'll get to that. But it's like, that's why I don't think Darwin starts. That's why
I don't think so either.
That's why I think because it is the precision. If there's a game that Darwin Núñez can lose his head, it's this one. And also based on Darwin's performance there last year, and if he watched the game, it was one of the worst performances the number 9's ever put in for Liverpool Football Club. I think
I just saw the highlights on like Instagram or something like that, literally just like 10 minutes ago, and I was like, oh, it was another shit game by him.
Remember the misses he missed? He missed like 2 or 3 really good chances at 0-0.
Yeah.
And not even the misses, it's just his overall passing, his control, his attitude stunk in the second half. He was a disgrace. But yeah, this is a massive game of football anyway. We knew it would beat him. We knew when this, it always is a big game of footy. But I do think Arsenal are playing a tough side as well. So I think they're playing Fulham, aren't they, away? Which, Fulham just got a good win midweek. So you know what I mean? It's like,
I always worry about those though. So sometimes like getting that win for teams like that midweek is not always a carry on. It's almost like putting your guard down sometimes for the weekend. So I always worry about that because it can go either way. You know what I mean?
That's completely fair. I think for Fulham, I think they're better than what we give them credit for. They're currently 6th in the league, Fulham. So if you're going to the team who's 6th in the league away from home, that should be a tough game, regardless. You know what I mean? Who you're going to play. So we'll give them the respect they deserve. They got a good win midweek. My concern with Fulham is they're not used to playing 3 times in a week, where Arsenal are. And I'm always concerned with that. If you look at the Newcastle game, for example, Newcastle couldn't run on 75. They were dead. Yeah. Newcastle were dead on the feet on 75. They had to get a set piece to win the game in a mistake. Sorry, to get something out the game. They were dead because they're not used to playing 3 in a week. So it's like, and I do think for Fulham, they're not really used to that, and Arsenal are. But what I would say is Fulham have got really good options up front. They have really good. I really like that Fulham team. I don't know about you.
The thing about Fulham I don't like is, and this is the Marco Silva thing, I think overall.
Yeah,
he plays very naive. Like there are times where you got to be like, okay, man, like you got to start, close shop. Like we got 2 goals or whatever. They let teams back into the game very easy. And then sometimes when they don't capitalize up top, then they can get really burnt. I mean, that, like the City game, for example, is a perfect, like a example. I mean, how we beat them, was that last year at home? A couple of worldies. Like how open they were then, whereas if they really shut shop, like, like Forest or something like that, they would be a lot harder to beat. I kind of respect it because their games are a bit more fun to watch, but I feel also like it comes across a little naive when they sometimes go to these games.
Yeah, and that's fair. I think what he realizes though, I think so. I like Marco, mate. I'll tell you why. I think when he was at Everton, he played a different system, and I think at Fulham he's playing a different system based on the players he's got. And I think sometimes with managers, you have to go in there and play a system based on the players you have, instead of just coming in and go, "This is the way I play, and I don't care if you can play it or not. We're going to play this way." And I think Marco was kind of adjusted a bit, because if you actually look at their attacking options with like Muniz and Emile Smith-Rowe's a really good buy, I think. I think that's really clever. Yeah. Nelson and Harry Wilson and Traore and Jimenez, they're good players, man. They're
you just saying that because your boy Traore and his like,
he played well this season.
Arms are there.
Play well this season. Fulham should have beat City this season at all.
Yeah, they should have. If your boy could finish, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, again, I think just that they have really good options, mate. I'm a big fan of Robinson, the left back. I think Liverpool are a big fan of him as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like Bassi, the centre half. I think he's pretty good. I actually loved the Anderson signing, but I think he could be out for this game. I'm not sure. The Anderson signing from Palace, really good centre half.
Oh, really, yeah. I mean, especially that's kind of like a game like they're going to play on Sunday. It will be a good one.
Yeah. So I just got a feeling, mate. It's, Iwobi did play well. Yes, scored a couple. Iwobi's one of those weird players who'll play 1 and 3. He's a problem. I always, there's players in the league I always call match of the day players. They look great on Match of the Day, but if you watch
Yeah.
them, you think, fuck me, he's crap. But if you watch him on Match of the Day, you think he's great. He's Robbie Keane, innit? Robbie Keane's the same.
Yeah, because you're like, that guy is good, and their fans are like, he's shit. You're like, really?
Yeah.
He looks good on the highlight
exactly.
reel.
Yeah, Ollie Watkins is starting to become a Match of the Day player. Ollie Watkins for 90 is crap, but then for 15 minutes in a game, he's fantastic, and then the highlights they show Match of the Day. So, but no, mate, I think it's a tough game. Listen, the derby was always going to be tough. Liverpool are coming to the end of a really, really tough run, a really hard run. And in my opinion, they basically have a week off. I'm not counting Girona. Like, you basically, it's up to the manager if he wants to give them a week off certain players. And then you got Fulham at home, and we know how good Fulham are. We've just been talking them up. But at Anfield, I expect Liverpool to win a game. Craven Cottage could be more difficult, but at Anfield, I expect Liverpool to win. So this is the end of a really, really challenging run. And if we get over the line, if Liverpool win this game, I would say it's as good as it could have been, I think, in terms of the results.
Yeah, I really wanted the 6 out of these 2. We already lost 2 along the way because it would be real. That's the thing though. This Newcastle game, it was almost going to make this one, for me at least. I know like your feelings over this game are totally different than mine. Mine is like, this is like.
What's your feelings? Go on. What are your feelings?
Like, I mean, I don't have like, like Everton game is the biggest game to you. United game is the biggest game to me. I meant it in that sense. But if we won midweek, I would have been okay with the draw this game. Similar to, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we got the draw, now we have to win this one. It feels like it put a bit more unnecessary pressure on the derby game, which is always tough going there, like you said, because it doesn't end up being playing a bottom tier, like a relegation battle team. It's just like totally different. And like that's a derby thing, and it's so weird because you can't explain it, but it's like that. I mean, it's like that in like in Turkey and let's face it, and you know how it is because you know the people there, but I know this is like their season in some ways because you're not fucking going anywhere, right? And if you're not getting relegated, these games are like highlights of your season in some ways. I mean, I've had seasons where Fenerbahce was shit, but then they beat Galatasaray. I mean, I think it was last season. Galatasaray won the title, but it did not feel like that. And they couldn't even fucking celebrate it because they lost to Fenerbahce a week to go at home. And that was more devastating than actually ending up winning the title kind of thing. It has that kind of a feeling. And I don't know why it affects the play and the players, but it does. Oddly, it does. It never ends up being the first against the 15th or the informed team against the poor form. I know, is it the emotion that goes into these games or the energy that the other team gets? So the 15th plays like the first. What is it? It's so odd because
I think it's a part of playing the occasion, and I think that's what Jurgen Klopp was very good at, was not playing the occasion. And I will give Jurgen his credit in that. He wasn't, you know what I mean?
But is that why we had a poor record for example, at Goodison? Because we didn't play the occasion?
I think Jurgen knew if he took 4 out of 6 points a season off Everton was pretty good, and he's probably right. Like if you take 4 out of 6 out your.
But normally you wouldn't say that. Like if I told you 4 out of 6 from Ipswich, you'd be like, "Go fuck yourself."
Of course, but I think it's also a part of, even Barcelona and Espanyol. Like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't say they'd accept that because the gap is a bit too big. But there is a part. This is a part with the levels in this league. I spoke about this on the previous on the Wednesday post-match show when everyone was a bit down in the dumps, and I said Isaac and Gordon would be the best players in the Dutch league by a mile. Do we agree with that? I think the 12th in the league. Calvert-Lewin would be the best striker in the Dutch league. Like that's the level of the Premier League. So sometimes there is a player which could surprise Slot. I'm not saying he will be surprised in this game, but there is a player who can just turn it on. Like that Ndai looks like a good player for Everton.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, he looks like a top. He's at least Europa League level player in my opinion, and he's playing for a team that might get relegated. And that's the level of, if they just raise it for this game, they just raise the level and get to their peak this game, then they can cause anyone problems. In the Premier League, you can do that. If they all raise, if every player at Southampton goes, we're going to get to our peak level that we can play for one game, they can beat anyone in this league. Do you know what I mean? They were very close to beating Liverpool in that sense. So I do think there is a thing in that, mate. But again, I do think sometimes we played into their hands in terms of playing the occasion, especially previously. Jurgen did it maybe twice, I think, when he played an occasion. I remember we had a game against them at Goodison Park. I can't even remember. We definitely drew the game. But I was like, I remember we went there once in the 2018 season, and he went there with Clavan left back and stuff. It was in the May. We drew 0-0 because we had the Champions League final coming up, and he played Clavan left back. I think he played Lallana up front on his own and stuff. It was just a fucking insane team, like genuinely. And I quite liked how he did it because he just didn't play the occasion. He went, no, we're just going to swallow this game. We're not going to lose this game. I've got bigger fish to fry. And I quite like that. I think sometimes when Liverpool go there and we go, right, we're going to fucking have to beat these and we're going to have to really get on top of them and match them in terms of intensity and match them in terms of tackling and passion. And I don't think that works for Liverpool. I never do. I think you've got to go there and kill it. You have to go there and kill it. Let's get this right, mate. For the first 20 of Liverpool, just keep the ball. I know those fans. I know you can. Those fans will not accept Liverpool beating them in the last ever Goodison Park derby. They just won't accept it. So what Liverpool have to do is go there and kill it. I want the most boring 20 minutes of my fucking life watching that game of Liverpool, just keeping the ball and swallowing them. Because you know about this, Tim, as well, because you've watched a lot of footy. The hardest football to play is when you haven't got the ball. Yeah. It's very hard to play footy when you haven't got it. And you're just running round. Show your quality. Show you're a level above them. Keep the ball. Clever passes, smart passes. That's why Darwin can't play. When you mention smart football, he can't play. You know what I mean? So and I'm not being rude there, but he's just not that type of football player who can come in and be clever and be smart. You tell Diaz and go, you're the only outlet ball for us. You tell Trent, there's no sideways passes across the Virgil van Dijk. Go long for 20. Go Mo Salah and Diaz, and you just do your crossfield and just get them in behind and get them up the field that way for 20 minutes. And just there's no sideways passes across your box. Absolutely not. That can't happen because they will come out and they want to. Let's get it right. They come off of a 4-0 win as well, a 4-0 win. They should feel up for the game. I know it was 4 set pieces that they scored off, by the way. And that's the other way that you win this game. Don't give fucking cheap free kicks or cheap corners away.
Yes, because that's what that's the biggest thing is. That's what I worry about. Not having Mac is probably a concern there because I see, mind you, he gives away fouls too, but Gravenberg and Jones are a lot more likely to give up those set pieces.
This is a big game for Jones, fella, local lad. It is a big game. You know what I mean for him. Curtis Jones. He says it all the time, the greatest moment to me because he scored against Everton. So
yes, and he's been trying it freaking since, for God's sake, trying to throw that thing in. But that's funny you mentioned that because I don't think a lot of people understand that how freaking tiring it is. And I really think like when you talk about these teams that gets, we talk a lot about like the second half adjustments and stuff that Slot makes, which he does. But a big part of those adjustments working is the fact that we tire the other team with our possession. People do not understand that. I mean, it's like, well, they're playing too with the ball. It's a lot easier to play with the ball. First of all, I know where I'm going. You don't know where I'm going. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier. I think it's very exhausting mentally as a defender because you constantly have to shift. People are making runs. I mean, I remember like I would like joke around with like the center forward. I would like, dude, set your ass over here. Like, stop running around because I gotta you're making me run over here and stuff. I would like just like fuck with center forwards because that's the thing. You constantly have to like slide back and forth, like sideways as the ball is moving and stuff. People don't, I think, underestimate. It's not a lot of running and sprinting, but you constantly have to shift, and it's really tired mentally because you have to be on, like switched on at all times. Whereas if you're Van Dijk and you're just like rolling it to, like Robertson, he's rolling it back and stuff like that, you can't just sit back there because there are people up top moving, like Gakpo's moving, Diaz is moving. You have to constantly be on, whereas half your team it's kind of off. They're like resting. I think people really underestimate. That's the whole point of this possession-based game, and that's why it works a lot better second half.
I couldn't agree more. And I think there's a part here in this game where you have to tell your fullbacks that your job for the first 20 is the channels. Hit the channels. Just let Diaz run onto a ball, Salah run, and let them win their individual battle against the fullback. Let Luis Diaz run against Ashley Young. He's 40 years of age. Let him run against.
So wait, now you started Diaz. You didn't start Nunez, but you're putting.
I would start Gakpo. Sorry, I'd start Diaz. Okay. I'd start Gakpo. But you just, Michalenko as well against Salah and go. Salah's going to win his battle against Michalenko. I want Ryan Gravenberch to have 12 touches of the ball in the first 20, and I want 4 of them to be tackles. I don't want these middle little intricate parts. That's why McAllister is a big loss because he's smart, because he's clever. And he's really good at winning fouls Like when they're coming in big intense, he'll just lean into them and fall over. You know, and he's really good at slowing it down for 20. Honestly,
I just like sometimes he does that, like one pass.
Yeah.
What it feels like he's like the whole game goes slow motion, like for his own team, everything slows down, and he's like, okay, now we got time. It feels like it's going hectic, and then he does one pass, and it's like everything slows down. I just love that about him.
He just does like one pass or one turn, and you go, he's in 15 yards of space.
Yes.
And you're like, where's he found that? At Goodison Park? And that's why he's so smart. I agree, mate. And I am worried. I am really nervous because I don't know. By the weird sounds of this, I don't know if you watched the press conference or you've listened to it back or whatever. He says, if Bradley's fit, we won't need to do the Kwanzaa thing. And I'm like, what do you mean if Bradley's like, is he back? Like, is Trent going to start? I'm assuming Trent's starting. Maybe like,
yeah. I kind of read that, and I was, like, what are we talking here? Like,
I thought
that was like the biggest mistake in the Newcastle game is playing Kwanzaa there and not Gomez.
It has to be Trent. First of all, Trent for 20 minutes against Newcastle was the best fucking right back I've ever seen for 20 minutes. It was unbelievable. It completely changed the game on its head. And then, of course, it's the pass. Honestly, because again, I understand the podcast that we're on here and we're talking to fans who maybe never experienced these Goodison derbies very often. The intensity of those first 20 are as fucking high as anything. Liverpool folded last year. Absolutely collapsed in the first 20 there last year. And I think they were running on gas, and I think they were running out of energy. The one thing I would say is, so that's why Trent is so important, just to go, hey, we're under pressure here, ping a 60-yarder to Diaz, and we're going to push 30 yards up the pitch. Sorry, old Gakpo, ping it, and let Gakpo hold the ball up for us, and we're just going to push 40 yards up. Do you know what I mean? Because it's going to be intense, it's going to be hard, and that's why Trent's passing is so key. The one thing I want to mention, though, mate, I think it's important here. This is Arne Slot's first Wednesday to Saturday early kickoff that he's had. So the one that Jurgen used to always moan about, we're playing and then it's the early kickoff.
Yeah.
This is his first one. It's a very short turnaround coming home from Newcastle on a Wednesday night to play Everton on a Saturday morning. The one thing I will say is it's also Everton's first. And Everton are not used to playing 3 times in a week.
Yeah.
So that
when did they play? Did they play yesterday as well?
On the Wednesday.
Oh, that's right.
But they were at home. Liverpool were coming down from, of course, Liverpool aren't getting a fucking, they're all not squeezing to the back of a vehicle here. They're flying in luxury. But they probably also never got to bed until like 4 a.m. in the morning on Thursday morning, So there is that to consider as well. It's going to be tough because there's going to be a lot of laggy legs. But all I would say is you've earned the right to rest against Girona. That's how you've got to think of it. If you're the manager and go, it's one last push, lads. And 5 years are getting the week off. 7 years can get the week off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, especially Gravenberch. He mentions Gravenberch today, saying he's played every single minute and I haven't got a choice. He basically said that today. Concerning.
Kind of to me signal that that's where he wants somebody.
I think that was what they were looking for in the summer.
Yeah.
But it just couldn't get done. But again, and we can go back to transfers a bit later on, of course, but in terms of this game, I just feel, and he said this, I've got 3 options basically. You know me, you know the 3.
Yeah.
From his Everton, know the 3. Everton could probably guess Liverpool's 11. Do you know what I mean? In terms of, it's probably going to be Gomez, Trent, the midfield 3, Jones of Sabaz's line.
I think this one is, I mean, they might be like, is he going to go with Nunez again? But I think it's a no-brainer. I know we're not putting him in there. I mean, I would put Diaz in the middle for sure.
All day, mate. I agree. And I think that's what the manager will do. And I can see the Robertson comments in the comments. Let's get this right, mate. And I'll give Andy his full credit here. He's played really well in derbies. He's scored in a derby. He's played really well. He understands that it's a derby. In terms of winding up the players, he's been there. And that's why they hate him. So there is a part of this. And I think Andy understands as well. I do get it. The one thing you'd say is I don't know who he's going to start on that wing. I don't know. He'll do Ndiaye on the other wing. I think he might do Dwight McNeil. He's been playing Dwight McNeil in a 10, which hasn't really worked for them. So
the only thing with Robbo is, I know what you mean, but that's, I think, when Robertson gets in trouble is when he plays with too much emotion and the head goes sometimes, like the penalty he gave away in the Madrid game. When you're like a step behind because of your age, speed, whatever, you kind of get a bit more reckless, right? You just gotta, because you rely a bit more on the drive, and then that can kind of make you do some missteps and maybe like go. I mean, basically, you're just late to the tackles. Like you want to do the same thing, your body just can't do it. But he has played a lot better over the last few games compared to where we were at. I mean, like I said, biggest thing on the Newcastle game was the fact that we did not have a right back. Like we played a center back as a right back, and that's why I felt like it should have been Gomez. I mean, the game changed. I think you could have put any right. You could put Klein in that game instead of Trent, and the game would have changed
Of
because
course,
we just
balance.
need the right back to play right back.
It's the
And
balance.
yeah,
The whole
because
balance.
nothing was coming out of that. It's a lot easier to defend where there's no threat, and you're
If
like,
you're,
you can have the ball over
mate,
there.
if you're Eddie Howe and you see Kwanzaa's going right back and Gomez has gone centre half, you just go, hey lads, that's your target there. Your game plan's done. It's a bit like in the Southampton game when Southampton went 5 at the back and the camera goes to Slot and he goes, Virgil, 5, they're going 5. You literally look and go, he's playing right back. Give the ball to Gordon as quick as you can. Give the ball to him. And the tactic's done for you. So that's why the balance is all wrong. But I couldn't agree more. I think Robertson's played really well last few games. I thought he played well against Madrid. He made one small mistake, which is
that's like a mistake that comes, I think, from like being slower because of age. Really, you're just going into the same thing with the penalty he gave against Southampton. It's just you're going in late. You're like everything is half a second late.
He's Arsenal. I get what you're saying on the Southampton one. I just think he gets done. I also think he thinks he's out the area. I'd love to ask him that question. Do you think you're out the box?
I think he thought. I
think he thinks you've done me. You've done me. I'm taking you out. But I'm out the box. You can have your free kick. You're not going around me, which is the right thing that we would all agree to do.
Yeah.
Don't let. And then he's in the box. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's small, very small margins. But I agree. But I think he's played really well the last few games.
Let's talk about this. I mean, he did mention this. I know Chiesa actually played for the U21s and scored a goal. I kind of like watched the highlights, and yeah, it basically looks like exactly what you think it would look like, an older dude playing with kids. So it looked like me on a Monday nights when I'm in that league. And then so everything it's zero pressure and stuff like that. I just find it odd though that it's like he's close to being back. So obviously he was playing within himself and not forcing anything or anything like that, like to pull anything like that. But they're both close. God knows what close means, but it could not come any closer, if you will, because I really feel like I mean Ananda's not here this morning. I was going to ask him because he was the one all along. I think you kind of like jumped off his bandwagon a long time ago. I know I felt okay, the first season was the first season, then okay, it's the second season. Now you're like, okay, maybe with the new guy, it's just this is the guy, and whether you like it or not, I love the guy. I don't like him as a starter. I don't know, and we talked about this, is it too expensive to have a guy like that as your impact sub?
Is it too expensive? No.
To have that much money sitting as the impact sub on the side. Because ultimately, when you sell him, you're going to sell him for what, 30, 40 at most, right? So a 30, 40 million guy sitting on your sideline doesn't sound as bad as, what we bought him for sitting on your sideline.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think in this league right now, you do need those type of players. Man City have got £100 million Jack Grealish sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
They have Jeremy Doku sitting on the bench. I think he cost like 60, 70 million. So I think there's a part where I've had my thoughts in the ground on Darwin Núñez for a while. Right. I actually think he is. If you watch him at Crystal Palace, you'll go, he's a great player. But then no one buys him. Wilfred Zaha is a great example. Everyone every year goes, he's great. Why is no one buying him? Why? Go on then. He's been there for 10 years. No one wants him. Why don't they want him? Because he can't be that good then, can they? So, I mean, there's got to be something about them. So, I think he has a role to play in this Liverpool team, but I don't think his role would be starting week in, week out for Liverpool. Do I think he could start a lot of the shit games? Yes. Do I think he could contribute coming off for 20 minutes like he did against Real Madrid and he was tremendous in no side? Yeah, all day. If he's our first choice striker for the rest of the season, Liverpool won't win the league. He will cost you more points than he wins you. I say it all the time. He cost us 2 points against Newcastle, if you want to say that, with his two misses. The first one's unlucky, but the second, like the one where he slides across the box, I think he has to react quicker. That's just me personally. And then the second one, even the players are looking at him to say, I think they're even losing faith with you. I think they must be looking going, fuck me, fella, we give you enough, it's time for you to start delivering. So, listen, it's frustrating. The Chiesa, Jota being close. The manager has 2 games of footy coming up in 2 weeks where he can do a complete rotation if he fancies it. And in terms of Southampton and Girona away in the League Cup. And I think he has those 2 games where if you want to go to Chiesa, Jota, Elliott, hey, we're going to get you some. I would expect Elliott to do 90 against Girona.
Hopefully, but then he would have to get like 20 or so on Saturday, wouldn't you think so?
I don't know, because I don't think the intensity is going to be there in that Girona game. I think Girona have kind of understood that.
That's fair. I just don't know, like, if you'll throw him out there for a 90 suddenly.
Yeah, but I thought maybe, but I just feel like he's been fit for like 4 weeks on the bench. But I think the games have been too intense and too close. It's not like Liverpool have won a game 3-0 with 20 minutes to go and you can go, Elliott's going to get 20 here. Because the games have been so intense, so pressured in terms of you know what I mean? There's been no layup in the last few weeks where you can go, we're going to get you 20 now, Harvey. So I just feel like that he could do 90 there. If Chiesa's close, it looks like to me Chiesa's played against the under-21s. Can he get half an hour against Girona? Do you know what I mean? Can he do half? Can he even do an hour against Girona? And then, I'm
more hoping like he comes in, especially if it's seen as like a lower intensity game. Like coming in the last 15, 20 there, like trying to slowly ease him in 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, maybe get him ready for Southampton or something like that. You know what I mean? Like do something along those lines. But I mean, here's the thing with Nunez, his work rates, which I get, but I don't know, man. I mean, put a Liverpool jersey on me, I'll run my ass off too. But where's that getting us? I mean, at this level, there's a lot of freaking forwards you can get who's going to give you work rate just to play for Liverpool. You can put Dan's out there. He's probably going to give you work rate. I love his work rate. I love his energy and like his dedication and everything. But that only gets you so far. This is the Premier League. This is the Premier League. This is Liverpool. And you're going to title run. You need quality. Just efforts only gets you, U21. I mean, like so far, like it does not get you to a title with effort. I guess that's like my biggest thing with him. Like I get it. He tries hard, but I would try hard too if you throw me in there. But I'm not good enough. So that's me. Quality.
The most basic 101 thing that you want to see out your football players who represent you is fucking effort. We've had lots of players who weren't good enough for Liverpool, but I always had the Fabio Borini in my head. Wasn't good enough for Liverpool, but fuck me, he ran 15k a game. Yeah. He tried his hardest. Do you know what I mean? Like I can never let the lad's work rate or his effort. He just wasn't good enough. And that's the thing.
I don't think we can be as harsh on him, maybe because of that effort. But you still gotta call it as you see it, and it just does not look like he's good enough.
It doesn't look like it just doesn't work. And if I'm led to think here, he could be. Was he an Edwards signing or a Julian Ward? 3 years ago, It could be a Ward signing. It might have been Ward's only year when he was there. It could have been.
It wasn't Edwards because I remember talking like that's not somebody Edwards would sign.
I don't know. I actually think his numbers and his age and the league he came from, it would have been on the list. I think he would have been on Edwards' list. Do you know what I mean? Because of his age and his numbers and his ability and I think he would have been on the list. But whether he would have took the punt on him for that price, I don't know. But listen, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I just think we need to. Jota, man, I need 6 months out of you. Just give me 6 solid months, please. Like, we're at the stage now, fella, right? This is shit or bust.
Yeah.
I just need... We are at the stage here where if Jota, Chiesa, Diaz can do us 6 months fully fit, I think Liverpool win the league. I really do. But I'm actually starting to get worried where if Nunez is your number one starter over this Christmas period, then it could all go a bit Pete Tong, as they say, a little bit wrong. And it's just getting to the stage. And this game, by the way, the derby, going back to this weekend, they will kick you. They will annoy you. They will pinch you.
Yeah, that's why it's not a good game for them.
They will frustrate you. And let's get it right. You didn't want it last year, though. You didn't want it. You showed me that you didn't want it last year. You went up for the fight. You went up for the challenge last year. Your ass went last year there. It was a disgusting number 9 performance away at Goodison Park. And this year, mate, he shouldn't sniff the pitch unless the last 20 to go and Liverpool are winning 4-0.
But here's the funny thing, like when we talked about it, I think Gally asked me about it on the podcast or something like that. Maybe it was like last week, like who I want coming off the bench if I need a goal. And it's still freaking Jota. So even when we say him as an impact bench player, like it would be like, okay, if I have a lead if I see Nunez coming off the bench, like Gakpo is coming out or something like that, I'm like, okay, now they really have something else to worry about. They're not going to be able to push as much.
Yep.
But if we're chasing a goal, I'm not like, oh, great, Nunez is coming in, he'll get the goal now, kind of a thing. It's more, I would want somebody like Jota coming in to get. I would want somebody like, I mean, it's funny to say, but Divock coming in, like somebody who's actually going to get goals. I mean, we go back. It's almost like because of his efforts, we're trying really, really, really hard to kind of like nitpick the little things that he's done, like the Newcastle game, that Forest goal and stuff like that. I mean, the sample size is huge now, and we're still like clinging on to like 2 or 3 moments. It's not like a guy who gets only 10, 15 minutes here and there like Divock was. Like, he gets a lot of time, and we're still clinging on to like 2, 3 memories over the last freaking 3 years, for God's sakes.
Agreed. And listen, I understand Liverpool and how they do the transfers. We can mention it because we are, I suppose, coming to the window. Liverpool have an issue on their hands up front. We also have issues all over the park, by the way. Liverpool, in terms of transfers and contracts, we have issues all over the park. Darwin is on the list now. A top centre forward is on the list. For example, if Isak was fit for 50 games, I would sell my house to get Alexander Isak to Liverpool. Like, I will do everything in my power, but the problem is he's another one. He's got the injuries and he always has his knocks, and I can't be arsed with another one of them. That I could see why Anthony Gordon was such a viable option for Liverpool in the summer. I could see why they wanted to do that and keep Diaz, because the argument was always to keep Diaz as well and do Gordon.
Yeah.
I always think there's a part in here when people go, I've never heard of a team in world football, and you might be able to correct me, who have too many forwards. I don't think you can have too many forwards. I don't think you can. I actually think.
No, I mean, you can't. I guess the point is, the guy coming in, is he happy with their role? You could clearly see, like, Gakpo was not huge on having to play center because his spot was given. You know, his spot was already somebody else's. Not that it was given.
Yes, but I think there's an argument to go and get those players, though, Tim, who can play across the front three and go, you will still play in 25 games because the minutes are always there. That, like, you're always going to have, I can only give him an hour this week. It's always in the forward line when this happens, by the way. He can only play an hour, or he can only, there's always chances and there's always minutes. And it's up to you, for example, if you would have said to me 6 weeks ago, who starts left wing for Liverpool, it's Diaz. Now, it's probably Cody because he's took his opportunity. He's took his chance. He's come in, he scored big goals against City, against Real Madrid. He scored 6 and 8. So he's playing really well. But he's took his opportunity when he's got his minutes, Tim. So that's why it's important. I don't think you can have too many forwards in a team. I really don't.
You can have too many forwards, but I don't think you're considering the player's perspective. Like,
of course, but that's the
if you tell Gordon, dude, if you take your chances, you'll be in. Gordon will be like, why the fuck do I have to do that when I can go over here and be guaranteed my start?
Or guaranteed to win the Premier League or the Champions League. So these are part of, like, you could be a part of something special. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could be a part
for some of these guys, in all honesty.
I think it is. I think
especially when they're young. I can see it, like, it's a bit easier sell maybe for a 27, 28, 29-year-old. Made my money, been there, done that. I've been the focus. Now it's time to win. You see it over here in the US all the time, like in the NBA and stuff like that. They're like, I'll go to that team, I'll get a ring because I'm done, pretty much, kind of a thing. Yeah. But I don't see it as much in soccer where, especially young dudes, say, I'm going to go there because there's a chance to win. They want to go somewhere where they're going to play because it's all about now, like, your own brand and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's a fair point. I just think, say, for example, with Gordon, I think he has that mental. I watched the overlap with him with Gary Neville. He feels like he's got that mentality of, I'm the best player in the world. And I think he thinks that in his head. I'm the best forward in this league. And I think he's got that mentality. If I go there, I'll just take the spot. And I think if you have a player with that mentality coming into your team, I do think he believes that I can play anywhere across this front line. I'm better than Salah. And I think he thinks that.
So what do you do to Gakpo? What do you do to Diaz by doing that move? What are you saying to your team? What are you saying to your player? I mean, do you want somebody? I mean, yeah, it might push you a little bit, but doesn't it also demoralize you? If they hired somebody to your job, that's the same dude, like, doing, you know what I mean? You'll be like, okay, why is this guy here? I'm already doing this job and I'm doing it well.
If you're not mentally there to step up, And isn't challenge good for players?
The challenge is good for players, but I don't think a lot of these guys see it that way, because in some ways, their international thing is based on that, how much they play and stuff like. In most international teams, some international teams will call you like the Turkish team. That doesn't matter what you're doing. You might be like just fucking like knitting and on the weekends and then come play for the national team. But I mean,
yeah, of course.
I think that's like kind of like affects what a player's thinking, especially like the younger guys. I think it's one thing to have the mindset to push it, but it can also be demoralizing because you can push yourself to death. You're not replacing Mo.
If you're
right?
Yeah, of course. But if you're not mentally tough enough to play for Liverpool and accept challenges and accept that you're at a club like Liverpool, who are going to be challenging for all 4 trophies every single season, if you can't mentally wake up to a challenge of another player, then you're not good enough to play for Liverpool. You don't get the mental fortitude.
I get that, but I mean, that you're like setting a bar that not a lot of players. I mean, there's not a lot of guys like that.
Well, Cody Gakpo stepped up this season, I think. I think Cody stepped up to the challenge this season of Diaz.
But Cody Gakpo didn't say, I'm going to really drive myself and earn myself a position in the center. He was like, I will do really good if I'm playing where I'm supposed to be.
And I think
why wouldn't you have if he really had that drive, why wouldn't it be like, I'm going to learn this position. I'm going to make this position mine, because the only other guy is fucking half the time he's injured and the other guy sucks. You know what I'm saying? If he had that drive, wouldn't that be that?
I think his drive was there to play the left wing role. I know what you're saying, but I think he's went that. Well, if you've got to give someone a fair crack at the whip in terms of their ability, in terms of what their best position is. I think he's went, well, Diaz is going to be starting every week. I've had a great Euros, and I'm going to fucking prove to this manager that I'm good enough to play left wing. And now he probably starts to play left wing. And I can see Sergi's comment there about the Diaz thing. Diaz is a great case in point. Diaz come in, hit the ground running, Mane, you're out. Mane playing down the middle, and he drops Firmino. Why? Oh, because he's coming in and took his opportunity. So that's why he starts like.
Honestly, I feel like that was kind of. I feel now coming to Liverpool, you kind of see almost like a basketball like rotation, right? Like in a 60th minute when everybody is fit, he subs the right back, the left back, like those wings. Like he subs the wingers, like the side guys. Yeah. So you can kind of see a bit. I feel like his subs get a lot more minutes than we did with Klopp. Maybe because the bench is better.
Yeah, 5 subs. It's only the second season we've had 5 subs, isn't it? I think it's only the second. So there is a lot more minutes to go now. There's also a party if you go, hey lads, if you fucking win games, you're going to play 65, 70 games a season. Like the start here. It's not like, what would that say if Liverpool signed Anthony Gordon in the summer and we have Jota's injured now, Diaz is woefully out of form. Gordon, Diaz and Gakpo probably still start 35 games a year for Liverpool. You know what I mean? Like that's the
but it's like you just came up with a perfect storm for the guy to get minutes. That's a tough sell to tell a guy. What if there's the perfect storm and you get 25 minutes? You know what I'm saying? Like I just find it hard.
I just think
I always go back to if my son asks me if Gordon was my son, I'd be like, dude, like what are the other options over here? Let's see what the other options are.
Maybe. I just think there's a part though, Tim, where I think there's a great selling point to sell to players that take your chance you start. Or for the challenge.
I think that's a good thing for a player to see. Like when you perform, you keep your spot.
And I always say this about transfers, and again, Gakpo and Diaz is the selling point to other forwards going forward and go, oh, what do you mean? Well, you got forwards here, but you've seen what Diaz started. Gakpo played well. He's now playing left wing and Diaz playing down the middle. Because you will get, you know what I mean? All I hear is players, when I listen to podcasts, previous players at certain clubs, I never really got a chance at that club. I never really got a chance. So I had to leave because you're going to get fucking chances at Liverpool, fella. Because we play so many football matches, you're going to get chances at Liverpool. And that's a selling point, I suppose. Do you know what I mean? And that comes down to... I think
fans sometimes think like, these guys are at practice. Like, just because you don't get to see them on the pitch. Doesn't mean the manager didn't. The manager's every fucking day on the practice pitch. So, like, these guys that go afterwards and whine, it's like, dude, obviously you weren't killing it on the pitch day in and day out. Yeah. What manager is going to be like, I know he's killing it, but I'm not going to play him. Like, you would get
it's like that. It's like that. I watched that again on the overlap with Neville and Trent. And he goes, like, the hardest player, and he goes, Mane. I had to mark Mane every fucking day. Like, you have no idea. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah, and you want me to go out and mark Michael Antonio? Mate, I mark fucking Sadio Mane every week. Like, every single day. Like, you know what I mean? So that's where the competitive comes in and the drive comes in. So I just think that Liverpool at the stage, right, mate, let's just take the front 5 as a one-off. They have a big decision on Jota to make. Because Jota's argument is, I can play 30 games. Well, that's not enough, but I'll get you 12 goals. You know what I mean? That's where you're like, but I'll get you 15 goals. And it's like, fuck. You know what I mean?
Isn't the ideal scenario an actual striker with Jota coming off the bench?
I think that's the ideal scenario. I would love a number. I'd fucking, if Isak was just fully fit, I would sell my house for Isak. But I also think there's a player, though, Tim, like a Gordon, who can play across the front three. I do think that's a selling point. If you're going to go to Salah, we're going to give you a 3-year deal, right? Or whatever it is for a new contract. You're going to be 35 in 2 years, fella. If there is a drop-off, I need a player who can come in and do 90 on the wing, and that's Anthony Gordon. I think there is, of course, the balance. The full-time replacement for Mo Salah has to be left-footed. But I think for the next 3 years, to do that and go to Salah, you're not playing against your own away. Out.
Yeah.
Gordon can play right wing there. I think there's games like that where I would love a player who can just do all three positions for me. I would have loved Neto, who went to before he went to Chelsea. And because Neto,
I would have really liked Neto as well, because
You know what I mean?
like you say, it gives you a lot of flexibility. Go to suicide level. Yeah, the adoption department is closed, bro. So we're done taking care of kids. So unless you grow another 2 legs, that's what we're taking care of now. 4-legged creatures. That's how I made our focus. So he says, not often I disagree with Cosby. Really? Because I disagree a lot. He's giving players too much credit. Players want to play, and if they want, they're replacing Salah and Kane, they won't come. Won't get a world-class center back if then. Yes, I mean, that's the thing. In an ideal world, yes, I agree with Sir Z there that it's very hard. I know what you're saying, and I will love it. I just don't think there's a lot of people out there like that are already high profile. Like, if you find the next Gordon, that's why I think everybody's looking for that. Everybody's looking for this 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid that's going to come with that mentality, saying, like, give me a shot at Liverpool and I'll make it, kind of a thing. Or, but even then, I feel like some of these guys are more like, let me go to Brighton.
Yeah.
Make my mark.
I was going to say, yeah.
Because I know, like, when Ferdi was, like, rumored, right? I thought that was a smarter move for him to... I don't think Ferdi is going to last in the Premier League. I don't think he's physically can keep up, for example. But I know there were rumors with him with like Manchester United and stuff like that. Maybe he said, hey, I don't want to go into that shit show and get lost. But I thought it was a smarter move. I go to Brighton, show myself, and then, you get your next big move, 50, 60 million now,
I think,
just somewhere else.
But the comments about the centre-half coming from Sergi, and I get that. But centre-half's different because you don't sub centre-halves. You don't sub them like you do your forwards. Do you get what I mean? It's not like,
yeah, it's a bit harder for a center half to get like 20 minutes at the end of the game or something.
It's a completely unique. It's like the goalkeeper. It's completely unique. It's completely different. You can't just go every week to Virgil van Dijk on 70. You're coming off. It just messes with everything. It messes with the balance. Players don't know whether to come or go. Yeah. It's a completely different scenario. You do need 2 world-class centre halves. I think Liverpool do have them. But you also need good squad players like Joe Gomez and Kwanzaa. I think that's how centre halves work in that sense. That's why Gomez is such a unicorn. And that's why Liverpool should do everything they can to keep him, because he can play left back, he can do your right back, he can, you know what I mean? He can do bits all over the park for you. And they're rare. It's a bit, I always go back to John O'Shea at United. It's so rare. Play centre mid 1 week and play left back the next week.
Yeah.
They're so rare to get. That's what your Gomez is. But going back again, and that's where I understand your point, go to Brighton and get your big move that way. There's also a selling point right now if you're Liverpool in the summer to go, let's just say they go back in for Gordon and go, Jota's always injured, We're trying to fuck Diaz off. Sorry, we're trying to fuck Nunez off. Diaz's agent's fucking in the media again, fucking trying to get to Barcelona. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's options all over the park again. And that's where, Mo Salah's 33, and he's only got a 2-year deal. Do you know what I mean? So there's arguments all over the park where you can sell now to forwards. So I just think Liverpool may come into this window. I just think I'd snap your hand off for a centre mid. I just think if Liverpool do one big centre mid, if they did the Zubimendi, let's just say, they go back and do Zubimendi, I think it could be.
I don't think you tinker unless looks like the wheels are getting shaky or whatever, which I don't see it. I think like everybody's freaking out too much over one game, but I think you don't tinker a lot. People never understand the dynamic in the backgrounds. Like, that's where we go to. This is not FIFA. You don't just dump, like, you don't go get another left back and then everybody's like, okay, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, so it's as much as, there are certain spots you need players for, or you can upgrade. It's not a good mid-season move to do that. You do that in June and then get the new guy in and he has the whole summer, blah, blah, blah. He can prove himself to the team over summer and shit. but
Yeah.
you don't do that in January, I think. Whereas your manager is clearly saying it, and I'm sure your players are clearly saying it too. Like Gravenberg knows he's fucking tired. Like you don't have to tell Gravenberg he's got legs, you know.
No.
So I'm sure he would be like, yeah, I mean, definitely one more guy in here, it would help us all, kind of a thing. It's like, yeah, one more guy in the office, so we can divide up the work. It would be a lot nicer, kind of a deal.
It could be like the Diaz signing, where it just rejuvenates the squad, and you nearly went on 4. You know what I mean? And it just literally rejuvenated our front three. By the way, our front three that we thought would never be broken, right?
Yeah,
it comes in, he's fucking unbelievable, and Liverpool nearly win everything. So it can't be a thing to the other players to go, fuck me, these are serious. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could be to, you know, I see he says, where does it leave Gravenberch? It gives him a fucking break. It takes the fucking...
Honestly, yeah. I mean, it basically, just like rotates it. Like, you know, you do the 60-30s. Like, you know, McAllister gets a break. McAllister doesn't have to go out there every time.
I reckon if you ask McAllister, have you ever been so happy to be suspended? He's going to go, no. This is the greatest suspension of my life.
And back to back.
Back to back.
He gets like a full week because he's suspended in the Champions League as well.
Yeah, and there's a part of that where he has the full week off. He goes to Fulham. You beat Fulham. You kick on again. Like, this might be it's a genius for him to have this week off, this time off, because he never gets it. Yeah, he's played nearly every game of footy.
Yeah,
like
including international games where he plays the full 90 and
final. Fucking 120 minutes in the World Cup final, by the way. He's unbelievable in that game as well, by the way.
Yeah, but wouldn't you, especially personally, as big as this game is for you, wouldn't you rather have him play this Saturday and be suspended for the Fulham game? Wouldn't you prefer that?
Yeah, if I have a choice, yes. But the way Jones is playing, maybe it's not like the end of the world, because Jones is playing so well. His goal's really good against Newcastle. He takes the goal so well against Newcastle.
The only beef I have with him is release the fucking ball at times. Just release the ball. Like, he sees people. And I know sometimes, you know, you can kind of use the person as a decoy and turn the other way or whatever. I get that. But man, there's so many times it's like, just release the ball. Like, you're hanging on to, especially like in the middle of the pitch. It's one thing to do it in the box or something like that. I get that. You know, you're trying to make something happen. But like on our half or right in the middle of the pitch, move the ball, drop it. Like, I hated playing with people like that who were just like midfielders who would just freaking drop the ball, take 2 steps to the left. Either I'm open or you're open. One of us is open now. Stop wrestling with the dude over there. Just drop the ball. Because there were 2-3 occasions in the Newcastle game where like Van Dijk and like freaking like Gomez are like looking at him like, just drop it right here. We're right here. And then you can go whatever the fuck you want and we'll get you the ball. You're wide open now. I also like Gravenberg does that better.
Yeah, agreed. The one thing and I agree what you're saying, but I sometimes do think that's a tactic to lure the press to do the turn. And then if you do the turn and keep the ball, so if you lure the man in, you turn him. Like Gravenberch is very good at it. You've got 15 yards of space.
Yeah.
And the game opens up. Let's get this right. The manager must be asking to do something like that. To go lure them in. Look like you're delaying on the ball. Lure the press. You're very good in tight spaces and tight areas.
But he has the guy on the shoulder already. Like, that didn't happen at that point, right? I mean, you have the guy on you. So the whole goal, that's why the goalies wait till the last second, right? You're trying to attract the guy as much as possible, open the space behind him. The guy is on you already. Like, he's on your ass. So mission accomplished. If the goal was to get that guy to you, because what Gravenberg usually does is either he spins right away or he fakes to take the ball, and now and that's all about knowing where everybody is as the ball is coming to you. I mean, that's basically awareness of your situation.
Yeah, maybe. But
I don't see Jones like what Jones does is he gets the ball, the guy is on him. So you got the guy on you now. His space is open behind. If you drop the ball and if you move, either you're open or McAllister's open, somebody's open behind you because you took the guy forward, which was probably your goal, like you're saying. Those are the times where otherwise, I think, you know, but the problem with Jones is, especially for people who have an agenda against Jones, they see those 2 moments. Yeah. And use it against them, even though the rest of the game he's been great.
And he's the only midfielder who can score consistently. He's the only midfielder who can score consistently for Liverpool. And that's insane because, by the way, his finish it's so good. It's been underrated because of the result and how... If Liverpool win that game 3-2, we're talking about that Jones finish. It's unbelievable finish, you know. It's behind him. He's whipped his leg around. It's a great finish. And He's the only one who consistently makes those dart and runs into the box, and who you trust for the ball to go to. The other part, there's another part of this where Salah passes to him. Salah knows he can give him the ball to score. Salah knows that.
Yeah.
That's where the confidence comes in. Salah goes, well, there's Jones making his late run. I can make that pass knowing he's going to get a shot off and it's going to be a great strike. And that's where, trusting the other players comes from. And that is so important. We used to always have that conversation about we don't get enough goals from midfield when we were very successful under Jurgen. And that's fine. But we also had 3 players who would get 20 goals a season.
Yeah.
I don't think we have that right now. But we maybe have 2 in terms of maybe Diaz and Gakpo. One of them could get 20 maybe. I don't think they could both get 20 because there's not enough minutes on the pitch for them maybe to both get 20. We all say that Jota could get 20, but he's never fit. So that doesn't get you 20.
Yeah.
So Jones's goals become important. Jones's 8 to 10.
But I think this system enables, because in the past, you have 3 guys, but they come so inverted because you have Trent and Robo coming, so your wing guys get really inverted compared to regular wingers. Whereas I feel now you do see Gakpo on the line. He might cut inside and take a cracker shot at it, or make that late run to the back post like he did. But now, because you're spread out a bit more, I think it gives people like McAllister, Jones, and stuff more space to push up to. And you have those players. Let's face it. I mean, I want McAllister to push up there as opposed to. I think
the last thing on this, because I agree with everything you just said, because that's why the manager mentioned Szoboszlai a couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't get enough goals and assists.
Exactly, yeah.
Because he knows this system will get the midfielders chances, and he'll get you chances to get the ball off and make some strikes, you know what I mean? And he said it, and he's challenged them. Do I think Szoboszlai stepped up to that? No. I think he scored against AC Milan straight away after the press conference.
Yes.
And I was like, maybe he's going to step up. No, he hasn't really. Maybe Jones has probably thought to himself, well, this is my opportunity then to step up. And again, going back to the other part of stepping up, I know Jones has been playing deeper, but he might go, well, I want to play further forward. And that's where Szoboszlai is going to be left out the squad, which he has been doing. He's been leaving Szoboszlai out in certain games because Jones can get him a goal. And
I think Curtis is more of a confidence dude. Like, Curtis has confidence in his skill set. So Curtis pulls the trigger, whereas I noticed Szoboszlai does not pull the trigger as much as he used to.
Scouse arrogance, baby.
That must be it. Speaking of Scouse arrogance, what is your prediction for this weekend? Oh, tomorrow. Tomorrow morning. In 24 hours, this game will be over, buddy.
2-0 Liverpool.
2-0.
I just think we have an Arne Slot special. I think we have to kill the game. Just please kill the game. Do not have a basketball game. Do not engage into the challenges. Do not get in the referee's face. Do not fucking have arguments with fucking Jared Brandtwaite when he leaves one on. You just laugh at him. A bit like when Kimmich did one on Mane, and Mane just laughed at him.
Yeah.
I always remember that famous thing, in his face, he just laughs at him and goes like, then we'll just batter at your ground, and that's exactly what happened. Just don't engage. You are better than them. So much better than them. Just play the game as you're meant to play it. They're gonna make it. We know what Sean Dyche is like, your favourite manager. We know what he's gonna do. It's gonna be set pieces. Do not give cheap fouls away. Yep. Don't give cheap corners away. Kick the ball out for throw-ins. I don't care how it works. If they're pressing you, fella, just get it out for a throw-in. Doesn't matter. Slow it all down, especially for the first 20, and then the quality will tell.
Are you worried about Kelleher to come back on after that game, or?
No, because I think he's
don't either. For some reason, I have confidence in the kid.
He just comes across like the most coolest cat ever. He's like, yeah, I made a mistake. Fuck you. Who's asked? I fucking saved your asses for the last 10 games. You forget.
I thought Slot made a good point, by the way, in the press conference about like when it was 1-0 and Gomez did a Gomez, and then he kind of kept us in the game. So I mean, I was mad because it is such a silly mistake to give up a huge 3 points, but holding that against them is kind of harsh. I mean, holding him against them and calling him people were suddenly what shit again. I just don't understand how people go cold or hot.
No, again, it's the life of a goalkeeper. It's literally the life of a goal. He's had it most of his life when he's played in goal, where if you make one mistake, you're the enemy. If you make one big save, you're the hero. And that's unfortunately the life of a keeper. And by the way, because it's one thing that hasn't been mentioned here, it's some finish from Shah, you know. It's still some finish.
Yeah.
Like, you can get away with that.
I don't even know if he's trying to finish. He's just trying to get that ball towards the middle again.
Yeah.
And for somebody to like run onto it, right?
If he's meant to, it's a great finish if he's meant to. And because sometimes you can get out of jail with that. I think about that with chances all the time. It's like when a striker misses a pen and does the follow through. And then he follows up and scores. Yeah, you got out of jail, fella. You missed a fucking penalty. Like, you know what I mean? We're all celebrating, but you still missed the pen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so sometimes you can get out of jail. It's a mistake. He knows it's a mistake. But he just comes across like such a cool customer and such a cool character. Like, he doesn't let anything faze him. And I think he'd be
He's not that young. I think that kind of helps. No. He's done. I'm sure he's had a lot of other blunders that, you know, yeah. So
was it Atalanta away home last year when he got battered? I think he made a couple of
he was rough that game.
So, by the way, he looks like a different level of goalkeeper now. Looks like a different
that's true. That's true.
I would put him up there with, you know, top 6 best keepers in the league.
So you're going with 2-0.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a 2-1. I think they get something from a set piece or something like that. And then squeaky bum time at the end, especially after this Newcastle game, it will be double the squeaky bum time.
I can't have a last 10 with winning 2-1. I just can't do that. I can't have that last 10.
What game was it that I was literally counting minutes, even though we were so dominant? It was a City game. I was like, you know, I'm like 28, 24 now. You know, like, it's just like constantly in my head. I'm like, doesn't matter. You know, it's like
house when Van Dijk does that mistake to De Bruyne. I would have had to be in your house at that point because, my God, you must be ripping the TV off the wall. You know what I mean? God, that's when Kelleher was the hero again, by the way.
Yes, exactly. I mean, so he's saved so many times, but then I guess we all go back to, dude, I saw somebody. I'm like, you have got to be shitting me. Fans have like the short-term memory thing is just like big disease. Somebody said, aside from the goal he scored, they can't remember a lot of moments. This was, I think, in the Chicago group. No offense. I think it was like, I don't want to rip on the dude. But they said something like, you know, they can't, you know, Keller has given us so many huge saves and moments like the penalty he saved against Mbappe. Right. And he could not remember, aside from the goal he scored, like Ali giving us moments like that. And I'm like, dude, you got Alzheimer's or some shit. Because I'm an old man and I can't remember off the top of my head. Off the top of my head, 5 to 10 huge saves, like the Napoli game. I mean, you name it. Not to mention, that's every season, every fucking game almost. There's an alley save before we score a goal. Every fucking game you go back at. But this is what kills me about sometimes fans, like the short-term memory of, Keller had 3-4 games. Let's get rid of Ali. This guy had 4. Bradley is good. Let's get rid of Trent. This guy is like, calm the fuck down.
There's 2 things that you mentioned with Ali that came to my mind. It wasn't even the Napoli game. Do you remember the save he made against Burnley away? We won 3-1. Shaq scored on the counter straight after it, right? We were in that great kit. He makes a save, Tim. It's outlandish. It shouldn't be allowed. Honestly, we win a game 3-1. It's away at Turf Moor. Shaq scores on the counter. Sturridge plays. Shaq scores. Sturridge plays on my pass shot. It's really late.
Oh, I remember the goal.
Just before that, Ali makes a save. That's so outlandish. He catches it. He tips it in, catches the ball, and throws it to Sturridge to score, to step the counter away. That always sticks in my mind, that save, because it doesn't get spoken about how much he is. You know what I mean?
Like the guy has like he's had a huge assist to Mo and stuff. Like, really, you can't remember any Ali moments? Like, you gotta be shitting me.
Because it is Derby related. Is when we win 2-0. Pickford does the time wasting in the first half. Yes. Then Ali does it. I celebrated that more than Origi in the Champions League. Because I love my needle in my football, and my needle against Everton. That is all for me. And when he did it, mate, and the crowd just get up, it's just cement. He read the script, didn't he? He knew exactly what we wanted.
And I mean, Livakovic did that the other day for Fabic. I was like, oh, he pulled an alley. I mean, that's what I mean. I considered that pulling an alley, but yeah, it's just
fantastic.
Like memory.
No, but please come back soon. My God, you are a missed man in my life is Alisson Becker. I love you, Steve. I really do. I think Kelleher's a top level goalkeeper, but there's levels to this game, and when you have the number 1 in the world, the number 1 starts. That's how it is.
No, this was actually in the Chicago supporters club group. A dude that, you know, post. I mean, everybody can have. I thought that was like that really hit a nerve with me because I'm like, man. And then here's what really why hits a nerve. And then the same guy will go 6 months from now when somebody moves to a different club and talk about loyalty and shit like that. Really?
We should sign him. I love those ones. We should sign him. Shit. There's like 40 players in the world if you Liverpool Football Club. Genuinely,
these are the guys that make their transfer lists that from like the man of the match, like the match of the day.
Match of the day football players, man. You watch on Match of the Day and go, fucking hell, he's good. Did you watch the
These are the guys that do their scouting watching that. They're like, get him.
Ollie Watkins is good. He's crap. He's crap. I love
That's
those
why
people.
Anand is not here this morning. But
big game of
yeah,
football.
I'll go with the 2-1. You're going with the 2-0. I know it's a tackle down over here in the US, but we will have the pre-match show. I think even Sir Z is going to be there, which is like 5:30 or 4:30 in the morning or something for him. But I know Gally is going to be hosting that tomorrow morning, so do tune in for that once the lineups come out. I think it's 45 minutes before kickoff.
I don't think I can be on that one, mate. That's not that. I'm not in a state that I could talk before that game. I don't mind if we're shit and we're like sixth in the league. You just have some fun with it. When it means so much and they know it means so much.
Yes.
But the difference is, I suppose, I know we're going to wrap up in a second. It means so much to them not to lose the last one at Goodison.
Yeah.
It's now become an occasion for them. It's not like they're going for anything. They want to stay in the league, but they should stay in the league anyway. This is now an occasion. They cannot, this is a thing for them. Do not lose the last ever Goodison Park derby. But my God, if Andy Robertson scores the winner. Whew.
I still want Gomez winner somewhere in there. And you know he's going to play, so he has to protect. I can see Gomez getting this goal from a corner kick.
It's him.
This weekend. I don't want to get you too excited here, but...
Oh, we're living in dreamland. We're living in dreamland. Yeah.
But yeah, do tune in for that. Hopefully this will be a good weekend for us, and then that will make it nice and easy to kick back and watch Fulham. Hopefully take something away from Arsenal. But we got to get the 3 points first. So do tune in for that. Have a great Friday, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.